Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Pulse Pods. It's your favorite podcast host, DJ El Pablo. Here we go.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Pulse Pods. As said, it's your favorite podcast host, DJ El Pablo. And I have with me a very good friend of mine from way back. From way back. When I mean way back, I mean like from secondary school. From primary school to uni. This is way back, like way back. Primary school, we knew each other when we were still like very, very little. And I have my friend here. Her name is Molabo Olubusayo. And she's let me say this right. She's a licensed clinical psychologist. a member of the Nigerian Association of Clinical Psychologists, an arm of the Nigerian Psychological Association, and certified NLP. She's a certified NLP practitioner with special interests in wellness, happiness, and simplifying psychology. I remember back in uni, she used to tell me she wanted to be a clinical psychologist. I used to kind of like laugh at her in my mind. Molabo, clinical psychologist. But right here we have it. She has actually fully achieved what she set out to do.
So you did not take me seriously that year?
No, it's not that. It's not that I didn't take it seriously. It's just that a lot of things kind of were in play then, and she wasn't actually even studying it when we were in school. So that kind of, put some doubt in my mind. University of Abuja, clinical psychology, where? But yeah, we thank God she's achieved that now. There. Yeah. So
that endo.
yeah, certainly, yeah. So she began her career as a psychologist in 2013 when she volunteered with Barnabas House Group, and now she's currently with Sam Obafemi Behavioral Change Academy, SOBCA, and she works there in the Mind and Behavior Clinic in Uye, Abuja. And she also practices at a few other hospitals within Abuja and facilities training in mental health, first aid, preventive mental health care. She's the founder of Day Nights, a periodic newsletter on psychological tips to actually mitigate bedwetting. Anyway, she may be simply referred to as Happy Molabo. So from here on out, we'll be referring to her as Happy Molabo. So Happy Molabo, welcome to Pulse Pods.
Hey, God, thank you, DJ El Pablo.
Thank you, Lord. Yeah. At least, I'm really honored to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here too.
Because I see all your stuff. I see all your stuff on WhatsApp status, and I'm like, wow, you're doing like a whole lot for people, and it just triggered my mind as to like, what can we do to help people? Because we're going to enter into a very pivotal year, not just around Nigeria but around the world. So I just thought the topic, protecting or safeguarding, or how to safeguard your mental health in 2022. So here we go. Over to you, Molabo.
Okay. Where would you like me to start?
Well, I'm just going to first start talking to you about, I'm asking you questions about what led you into going into clinical psychology?
Okay. Oh, well. My journey into clinical psychology began with psychology, so maybe I should start there.
Yeah, maybe.
So I have a resume at GWAGSPA. That's University of Abuja for those who don't know.
Yeah. Unibuja or GWAGS or Abuja or all the names that we call it, Unigwags.
Unigwags, yeah. Oh, well. Okay, so I thought I resumed at GWAGS. I already knew I was interested in psychology.
Mm-hmm.
I was there because I applied to NC and I was giving biological sciences, and let's leave that one on the side.
Yep.
But I already knew by the time I resumed. So my plan was to do the first year at biological sciences, then change to psychology
Yep.
after my first year, so I could start psychology from 100 level and all. And as soon as I started with my inquiry, I found that there was no psychology. Psychology was not an available course, was not available for study at that year at the university. So I started to ask questions and gather information. And God bless my mom for bringing home I don't know what he was then, but he seemed like now that I'm older, I think I can refer to him as a career coach.
Yep.
And just one meeting with him, and I picked a few steps from that meeting. And so I went to the JAMB brochure, found out what I needed to study psychology. And then, you remember that last exam I wrote to Igua, where I was studying GCs?
Yes.
That was
Wow.
because what was in the brochure then. I was a science student in secondary school, and the brochure was saying that federal universities in Nigeria required you to have government at your O levels.
Wow.
To psychology, to apply for psychology. And even now that I've graduated from psychology, it still doesn't make sense.
Yep.
But thank God the MPA, the Nigerian Psychological Association, is working on correcting things like that, because psychology is really a science.
Yeah.
So so because I needed government, that's why I registered for that GC with my money. And then as soon as my father noticed that and found my commitment, he took it up from there.
Yeah.
And I started studying psychology. Why did I want psychology? Why was I particular about psychology? I was particular about psychology because I needed to understand people. I've always had the need to understand people. I believe that everything a person does or doesn't do is a reaction to something else.
Yep.
Yeah? And it's a response, rather, not just a reaction, but it's a response to something else. And I've always been curious about that.
That's interesting.
And that's why I wanted to study psychology. So, the rest is history. I did the GC, which came out funny. But it got my father's attention. So he registered me for JAMB, registered me for the application. I was able to apply to Kevada University. I applied to psychology in 2 universities. I ended up attending Kevada University for my first degree. And while I was studying there, by my 300 level, I started understanding the difference between the specializations and what I wanted to do.
Yep.
And because I've always wanted to work directly with people, be the typical shrink, I knew clinical psychology was the best specialization for me to go into.
Yeah.
And so from there, I decided I was going to study clinical psychology. And fast forward to during service year.
Yeah.
By the time I graduated, I already knew that I had to start applying right during service year.
Yeah.
Because you can't exactly practice in clinical psychology with your first degree.
Okay.
Yes. There are some fields of psychology that you can do some limited work with your first degree. But for clinical psychology, for most specializations in psychology, you can't do much with your first degree.
Wow.
So I applied for my master's at University of Ibadan and University of Lagos. I ended up attending University of Ibadan. That's where I trained at University College Hospital. And then I trained at where we call the Mecca of Mental Health in Nigeria, Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Aro.
Wow.
Yeah. So after that, I got licensed. I earned my license with supervised practice. And then here I am. So why am I? Well, that's why I came into psychology. Why am I still in psychology? Now I'm in psychology because I like helping people to be happy.
Okay.
And for me, happiness is being mentally well.
Yeah.
Happiness is being mentally well. So that's it.
That's interesting. That's a very interesting story. A lot of people, considering what they got, I know so many people back in University of Abuja back in the day, considering what they got as a course they studied, they just stuck with it because they said it was their fate. But you decided to chase your desire, your dream, and that's like very rare to find. I have very few friends who have literally like gone so far deep into like things and decide to start again,
I'll bless the parents. That's the truth.
Yeah.
I'm blessed with supportive parents. That's why.
Very important. Yeah. So
yes, it is.
We know in the world that mental health is becoming a prevalent issue. It includes like our emotional, psychological, and social well-being, and it affects how we think, we feel, and act. And it also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. It is very important in every stage in our life, from childhood to adolescence and to becoming adults. And these are things like you see stuff on social media, you see stuff on WhatsApp, you see stuff on Twitter, and you hear about things that people go through. I was speaking with my mom on Sunday, and she said a young guy who's just got married and has like 2 children or something just went to one of the bridges and dived in and died.
Oh no! Oh no!
So, like, mental health is a serious issue. I just don't want to go into details of so many things I've seen of people, even young ladies who are crying that they've been body shamed, married women who are being body shamed by their parents, and others that are being body shamed by their husbands or spouses. But my own question is around the theme: how do we protect or safeguard our mental health in this coming year, 2022, seeing as 2022 is a pivotal year, especially in Nigerian elections and in the economy of Nigeria? How can especially young people or people alike protect or safeguard their mental health in 2022?
Okay. First of all, I need us to remember that when the new year is coming, I like to tell people that our life is a total of times.
Yep.
Yeah, and the years, the decades, the years, the months, the weeks are just a measure of our life.
Wow.
They're a measure of time, so they're a measure of our life.
Wow. Okay.
Per period. Not as per value or impact, just specifically for period.
Wow.
Okay? And so, 2022 is just another period.
Okay.
And I make a joke that everybody's new year is actually their birthday. So maybe maybe thinking about it that way in the first place should ease some pressure off you.
Wow.
Because
new
there are
year
people
is their birthday. Wow.
Yes, because if you want to check, if truly time is a measure of the period of life, this period you spent alive on earth. Yeah. So if we ask you, if your birthday is not 31st of December, for example, and we ask you, how long have you been around? You will not be able to give us the exact.
Yeah.
You can't give us a round for year.
Yeah.
Because your birthday is not in December. It's not December 31st or 1st of January. Yeah. But when your birthday comes, then you can actually give a round for. Do you remember when we were kids and then when they ask you how old you say
16 and a half or 16 and 3/4.
16 plus and 3/4, yes. And I remember one time when they asked us, I think you're my younger sister, and when they asked what our age difference is, and I will count it for them. I'll be like 3 years, 6 months, and 12 days. And they'll be like, take it easy. I'm like, yes, I counted.
Wow. I mean, I over just to sorry to cut you short in that. Just to like I saw something on YouTube. I was watching a sports show on YouTube, and somebody said something. He said that actually, if you are 25 years old, by the time you clock 26, you are actually completing 26 years. So basically, you were already 26. You just completed it. So
you just completed that.
Yeah. So let's say, like my birthday is 10th of January. So if I was 25 before 10th of January, I just completed 25 on the 9th of January. You understand?
Yeah.
And then I entered 26, the first day of my 26th year.
You are starting the first day of the 26th year on the 10th of January.
So
yes,
it's
that's
like,
how I work.
So it's like you can't say you are 25 on the 10th. You've just completed 25 and you are going to 26 on the next day. It's just like, when thinking about it, it's just mind blowing. And you saying this now, like every new year is like, oh my God, people, you need to listen to this. This is deep stuff here. Sorry.
And so when you think about it that way, then that should take some, not all, but some of the pressure off.
Yeah.
Then second, I need everyone to cut yourself some slack.
Wow.
Cut yourself some slack. Because you don't have control over most of the things that become your success.
Wow.
You have your role to play, but there are many factors outside of your control.
Wow.
For example, the way people see you. Another example is the exact time you're going to achieve something you're working towards. Another example is the weather.
Wow.
Another example is how people interpret what you call success. So those are just a few. I've mentioned only 4.
Yeah.
There are so many things that are outside of your control. So you have to cut yourself some slack and then evaluate what you consider success. And this brings me to my next point.
Yeah.
You need to keep track. As humans, we're forgetful, and we always have a new problem.
Yep.
The motivational speakers will tell you that when you climb, get to the summit of one mountain, then there's another summit ahead of you.
Yeah.
And that is true.
Yeah.
Another thing that is true is that as you are overcoming, basically what it translates is that as you're overcoming one problem, you're already overwhelmed or occupied by the next.
Yes. Like
So
the usual Nigerian phrase, wahala no dey finish.
Exactly, wahala no dey finish. Oh, the things that you are struggling to achieve now, in another 1 to 2 years, they are small things.
Yeah, certainly.
If you think about the things you are struggling to achieve, let's not even go far. Let's just say in July 2021. I remember this time last year, people were just trying to be alive, even keep body and soul together.
Yeah.
After everything that happened with COVID, even people who made money during COVID felt like they lost out on some other aspects. And so whether physically, financially, socially, or emotionally, everyone was affected one way or another by the COVID. Some people, just the shock of that the world could change so drastically.
Yep.
Was enough to shake them.
Wow.
And it made so many people anxious, more anxious than they used to be. So, you need to keep track of what you are working on now. So that in 3 months, when you are taking record, you can appreciate the progress you have made so far. I encourage people that when you set your goals and you note the things you want to achieve, or people that use vision boards, when you design your vision board and you paste pictorial representations of the things you're working on on that vision board. With each one you achieve, don't throw it away.
Wow.
Have a different segment. Have a small segment on your vision board for the things you've achieved. So you move those pictures there, so that you can remember that you have overcome so much. Anyone who stops struggling, anyone who has nothing challenging them, is dying.
Wow. Anyone who
Even
has
the
nothing
person dying has
challenging
their
them is
health
dying.
challenging them, for
Wow.
God's sake. They have their bodies challenging them. So you always have things challenging you. Always.
Definitely.
Until you stop living. So the best we can do in the meantime is to take stock so that you can appreciate what you have done so far. You mentioned earlier that some people body shame themselves.
Yeah.
Well, some people success shame themselves.
Wow.
Also, you said some people are body shamed by other people.
By other people, yeah.
Some people success shame themselves. They success shame themselves.
Yeah.
They don't appreciate what they have achieved. They feel that, there are things that come readily to me that may not come readily to you.
Yeah.
The same way some things come readily to you and you don't come readily to me. So when you do great things in the area that things are easy for you, you are not likely to appreciate them as much as you would appreciate doing small little things in the area that are difficult, in the areas that are difficult for you.
Yeah.
So when you've done big things, and then I'm not good in that area, and I'm looking at it. Okay, for example, look, I know you're a good DJ. Yeah, and so here I am. Okay, yes, I remember. See, just yesterday, for example, I was at my my school's alumni association's Abuja end of year party, and then when the DJ was playing music, at the point everyone got excited.
Yeah.
And don't mind me, I'm a psychologist. I'm always observing people. So I noticed how, as the music changed, as the tempo changed, people started responding differently and all. And I couldn't help but feel that this is the kind of music that I like to have playing at home sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like, but I'm not a DJ. I cannot play this kind of music. Even when I combine my favorite songs, I cannot get it this way.
Yes.
Now, for that DJ, I know him. I don't know him personally. Last I know him personally. He's an acquaintance because he's in my school's alumni association.
Yeah.
So I know he's a professional and he had this for years.
Yes.
Okay? For him, that was nothing for him, I'm sure.
Yes. Well, just another
music. It was not a large.
Just another music or a soundtrack.
Yes, he was probably on the mixer.
Yes.
You understand? Meanwhile, we that were enjoying the music, for me in particular, I was appreciating the major thing he was doing.
Yes.
It's not a big deal for him.
Yes.
It is a big deal for me.
Yes.
If anyone asks him to score the work he did yesterday, he's likely to say, "Oh, it was nothing. It wasn't even work. There's nothing to score there."
Yes. Very correct.
Because he can't appreciate that he's so good at it that he can't appreciate that's not significant to him. Meanwhile, years ago, he may not have been able to do that without preparing for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't keep records of the things you're working on, of the things you are achieving, then you're not likely to be able to appreciate what you have done so far. If I ask you what were you working on in February this year, can you remember everything you were working on in February?
Well, to an extent, yes, I can, because just like you said, I always document my plans. I always write down things. And usually when I talk to people, I tell people that, if you write down, the Bible is very explicit about that. Write your vision, make it plain. So if you write down your plans, you have something solid to hold on to. So when you have something solid to hold on to, if you want to pray to God about it, you have something to lay your hands on. And then God just commissions it. So that's how I view life, and that's how I tell people, I had plans for this year. Like, I literally achieved almost everything save one, and that one has to do with money. I had a target for how much I wanted to save this year. But by the time I got to like October and I did like an evaluation, I was like, no, I haven't saved the year. But still, when I looked at what I had done and how I had used money this year, I realized, if I had not used the money to do these things that were for life, I would probably have saved that amount. So that's what just kind of encouraged me.
Okay.
So that's how.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So now you can imagine if you didn't write them down.
And I wrote them down in one scrap paper somewhere and put them in a book, in a small jotter. And then I came across it and I was like, wow, I've actually achieved what I set out to do.
Before you came across that paper, did you feel like you were doing anything?
Well, to an extent, yes. No. I didn't feel like I was doing enough.
You wouldn't have known you have achieved that much in this year.
Yes, you're correct.
Because our brains can only hold on to so much.
Yep.
Our brains are like, the spotlight they use when people are performing on stage.
Yes.
That's how our minds are. That's how they work.
Wow.
So it's only what the spotlight is on at that time, what the focus is on at that time that we can see.
Wow.
Everything else is not very bright.
Yeah.
It's not exactly within our view.
Yeah.
So as the spotlight moves, maybe when something happens and then the spotlight moves to that side, that's when we see what's happening there.
Yes.
So until you saw that scrap of paper, your spotlight was not on that. And so your mind did not go to that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. So
exactly. So just the same way, because of the areas immediately outside of the spotlight are there, you can see what is there, but you can't see them clearly.
Yeah.
That's how other things are, just like our peripheral vision.
Yes.
So we can see that there are other things around, but we're not noticing them at that time.
Yes.
So that's how it works. That's why it's important that you keep records.
Yeah.
So I've said you should remember, first of all, that this is just a measure of time.
Yes.
New Year, we thank God for it. It's just a measure of time, number one. Number two, cut yourself some slack. Yeah?
Wow.
Number three, you have to keep track.
Yeah.
Because if you don't keep track, then there's no way for you to measure.
Yep.
Yeah? And most importantly and finally, keep your, and I'm not sure how to call it, your mental health now, or your mind, or your heart, or your, see, any word you want to use for it.
Yes.
Or your brain.
Yeah.
Any word you want to use for it. But make sure you're doing fine.
Yes.
And how can you make sure you're doing fine? By checking in with yourself regularly.
Yeah.
So every day when you wake up, ask yourself, Paul, how are you doing? How are you feeling this morning?
Yes.
And then when you find that you're not feeling too good, then you can ask yourself, why am I feeling this way?
Yes.
And then the more you think about it, the more you can identify the reasons you're feeling that way. And for some things, you can resolve them immediately.
Yeah.
For some things, you can't resolve them immediately because they need time to pass.
Yeah.
For example, if you've lost someone, if you're grieving, or you're trying to achieve, no, I won't say try to achieve something should make you sad. It shouldn't make you sad. It shouldn't make you anxious. Okay? So let's say if you're grieving, you've lost someone, you've lost something important. You know that with time, that's going to get better.
Yeah.
But if you're experiencing good feelings, it's just good that you check in with yourself, identify the way you're feeling, and then continue with what you're doing.
Wow.
Initially, it's going to feel odd. You may feel like you can't exactly identify the way you're feeling. But as the more you practice it, the better you will get at it. And I recommend one of the tools I recommend for doing that is an emotions wheel.
Okay. Emotions
Just check
wheel.
on it.
Okay.
Yeah. If Google Images, use Google Images.
Yeah.
Find emotion wheel, and then download anyone you like and use it. Use it to identify the emotions you're experiencing at the time.
Wow.
Yeah. And please make sure that the emotions wheel you select is one that has positive and negative emotions.
Yeah.
Not only because some emotions wheels are specifically for negative or disempowering emotions.
Yeah.
So make sure that it has like a balanced view of emotions, not only the negative emotions. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
those are the 4 tips I can share. I would like to share. No, I've considered sharing more, but I don't think people are able to practice everything at once.
Yes.
You know, in behavior modification, in behavior therapy, we learn one new behavior at a time.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, certainly.
Yes. So it's important that you work with even if it's one of the 4 you pick.
Yes.
And you start with it is something.
Yes.
Okay? You don't have to practice all of them at once. But yes, as you master one, you can start another one and then add it on and then add it on, build it one over the other, so that you are practicing at least 3 or 4 of them in another weeks.
This is very insightful. I have learned a lot right now, like in just this short time. Basically, I wish we could even go further, but the truth is, what you just said now sent goosebumps down my spine, like literally, like my whole body. Yeah. When you said, I'm telling you, like when you said emotions wheel, I became kind of like a bit, nervous. I just did a quick search and basically just saw loads of stuff, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yes, there's so many of them.
Oh my God. There's a whole lot. Like, there's a whole lot about how people feel. So they call it either emotions wheel or feelings wheel. There's a whole lot about how people feel.
Emotions and feelings. Feelings are the way our emotions are making us feel.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
This is super interesting. If you don't pick anything from this, pick this emotions wheel and run with it. Because trust me, there's a whole lot about our feelings we cannot put together. And sometimes, like you said something, cut yourself some slack. I said this in one of my episodes. I can't remember which particular one, but cut yourself some slack for anything whatsoever. You don't have to blame yourself all the time or fester or let emotions fester, negative emotions fester.
So much beyond our control.
Yes. And there's something I've also learned, that whenever you find yourself in a situation, ask yourself, what can you do about it? And then if the answer is there's nothing, then there's nothing. If the answer to any situation you find yourself is yes, fine, do something about it. If the answer is no, then it's beyond your control, right? So just might as well just move on. This is enlightening, like literally, because you never know. A lot of people are going through a whole lot. I spoke with a friend last year. Somebody referred her to me. And then apparently she was going through a very depressed state, and it was really hard for me to get her to come out of her shell. And me, I'm not a savior. I'm not a psychologist. I'll just only talk. I'm telling you, I'll just talk the best I can. But now we're really good friends, and we chat and I check in once in a while. And she's doing good. She had to travel at some point. She was worried. Everything was all just negative around her. And whenever they say they've never said depression. They've never said depressed. My antennas rise, because I was in a very dark state in some years back, like in 2013. I've said this before on my podcast, that I was depressed in 2013, and I got, like you said, there are so many things that people can do to get out of certain states in their life, and one of them is having good friends around you.
Yes.
I had a very good friend who I always talk about every time. She helped me through it. At that time, she didn't know she was helping me through it, but a few years down the line, when I remembered, I had to reach out to her, and I'm like, you helped me in this state, going through. So it's whenever I hear depressed, my antenna just rises. I'm like, okay, because I know how dark it can get for people. Some people get into rabbit holes and they can't come out. So they need a hand to pull them out. So I'm really, 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 really blessed to have this conversation with you about this, because mental health issues are becoming prevalent in the minds of especially young ones, or the people they call Gen Z.
Let's not even go into that. That is really scary. Really scary.
Yeah.
The number of teenage clients I've had after COVID.
Yes.
Multiplied by, I think, 4.
Wow.
Yes.
So for example, if you had 20 before COVID, you had 80 after COVID.
4.
Oh God.
Time 4.
Wow.
See, it's let's just keep trusting God. I tell people that we have a mental health pandemic coming.
Yes, we do.
One thing that I'm comforting myself with is the fact that we're humans, so we evolve. We adapt. Adaptive mechanism. Yes, I'm hopeful that our capacity to evolve would help at some point. I mean, will help us through part of it, and it may not be as scary. It may not be as the impacts may not be as dangerous or as destructive as we fear. So
that makes sense.
Let's keep hoping for the best, but it doesn't mean we're not going to prepare ourselves by creating all the awareness we can, and equipping people to look out for their mental health by themselves, particular,
Yes.
and then look out for the mental health of those around them.
Yes, yes. So do a check. Write a plan. Write something down that you can actually use to grade yourself, and don't forget that there is something beyond the spotlight. When the spotlight is on you, there is something beyond it that you still can't see, but you will see eventually. So I really want to thank you for taking our time to really like shed more light on issues of mental health. I believe by the special grace of God that we will have this conversation again, and
I'm looking to it.
Yeah, we will have this conversation again and take another dimension to it with mental health of young minds. But I'm really, 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 really grateful. I mean, this is mind-boggling. Like, you know, you might have an idea or have knowledge about something, but you never know, especially in-depth knowledge, until you speak to someone who is a pro, like a professional in this.
Yes. I'm a pro.
Yes, I totally agree. Like certified, accredited, and professional. Like literally, because sometimes when they call, I for the first time this year, I think I heard the word shrink. That's for the first time this year, and I never really knew what the word shrink meant until I saw it on a TV series, and I was like, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, like you guys are doing like an amazing job. And when I see Subcar, usually I'm like, wow, Sam Obafemi. And I knew when he was like, he had very few people on his team and he's expanding. And even some of my friends are on the team. I featured one of them. I featured one of them on this podcast, Tapsuk. She's on Sam Obafemi's team. It's like amazing. She has an affiliation with him, and whenever we have conversations like this, is always so deep. Yeah, so I'm really grateful. Like I'm really grateful. I can't express how grateful I am. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Happy Molabo, for this. Where can people find you on social media?
Oh, okay. Social media, please just come to LinkedIn.
Okay, so you prefer LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, I prefer LinkedIn.
Okay, it's more networking.
Kola Taiwo Oretade or Molabo Kola Taiwo Oretade, or you can just send me an email at molabokolaTaiwo@gmail.com. That's Molabo Kola Taiwo at gmail.com.
Awesome.
Yes.
As you've heard it from the pro, link up with her, send her an email, connect with her on LinkedIn. I mean, I've had so many friends I connected to on LinkedIn, and we're friends now, even like chatting and all. Connect with her on LinkedIn, speak with her about some of the mental health things. She's a psychologist, clinical psychologist. She will help you at a fee. So that one is not like, this is something she does as her profession. So link up with her. She's going to talk you through some things, and eventually pull yourself out of that rabbit hole if you're feeling it. But my takeaway from this today is the feelings, or what did you call that wheel again?
Wheel.
Yes.
Or feeling.
Emotions or feelings wheel. There is positive and there's negative. So if you're search the positive one, so you know the feeling you are feeling at that time, just as she said, and then you can put your feelings to actions, and it ceases to become just feelings. Thank you very much, Molabo, for coming on this podcast. And I look forward to having you in the next one with some more insightful stuff, especially because with what's going on right now, I feel like we could just go on and on and talk about this and, help people solve some problems. But
ended.
Yeah, it's an
mental health issue.
That's
the truth.
I'm really grateful. Thank you very much for coming through. I really appreciate
it. All right. Happy New Year. Have a beautiful week too.
You too. Thank you. God bless you.
Bye.
Bye. And there you have it. That was Happy Molabo on the podcast, episode 22. Thank you for listening to Pulse Pods today. I hope you've had something that you've taken home. The emotions wheel should be one thing that you should hold on to. and take home. Yeah, amongst other things that she stated, the 4 things or 4 ways in which we can safeguard or protect our mental health in 2022. Thank you for listening to Pulse Pods today. We hope you've learned something new today to help you with your daily life and living. Pulse Pods is on social media. You can find Pulse Pods on Instagram at Pulse Pods and on Twitter at Pulse Pods. And you can also listen to this podcast on YouTube at DJ Pablo on YouTube, and just enjoy. We're entering into a new year, and I just want to use this opportunity to wish you a happy new year, a prosperous new year ahead, fulfilling new year 2022, and we hope that you will achieve all that you've set out to do. Make sure you write them down and start working towards achieving them, and God will help you succeed with it. God bless your heart, and stay safe. See you on the next one. Cheers.